Robot Talk is the podcast that sits down with robot enthusiasts from around the world and asks them the questions you always wanted answered. Like, is that a human or a robot? And how does that thing work? Hello everyone, welcome to Robot Talk. I'm your host, Claire Asher, and this week I'm learning about humanoid robots and how they're being deployed in healthcare, education, and beyond. But first, I'd like to remind you to rate this episode and leave a review if that's something you can do on the platform you're listening on. And don't forget to share the podcast on social media or tell your friends about it. It really helps the podcast reach more listeners. So, with all that said, it's time for me to introduce this week's guest. I recently had a really interesting conversation with Esyin Chew from Cardiff Metropolitan University about service and social humanoid robots in healthcare and education. Today, I'm talking to Esyin Chew, Director of the EUREKA Robotics Centre at Cardiff Metropolitan University, working on service and social humanoid robots. Hi Esyin, wonderful to have you on Robot Talk.
Hello, thank you, and glad to be here.
So, first of all, can you tell me a bit about the EUREKA Robotics Centre and the research that's going on there?
Sure. I founded EUREKA Robotics Centre in 2018 through a successful 2 million WIFO grant. It's a European grant, with only 2 educational robots from Canada at that time.
Okay.
However, within 5 years, we were given the centre status right after the COVID, because we introduced a lot of robots to the underprivileged students in Wales, and we 3D designed 3D devices, printing work for healthcare staff during the COVID. Our current research strength is humanoid healthcare robotics as a service. So the research framework is the main focus as being profiled by the UK Parliament and Welsh Government. Humanoid robot means AI machine that copy humans' intelligence and 5 senses for learning, for reasoning, for making decisions, and to solve real-life problems. And our focus is the companionship of this humanoid robot. We propose a safe, companion, and thoughtful integration theory and successfully integrated over 20-something, I lost count, in hospitals, care homes, universities, and schools in Wales, Malaysia, Indonesia, Pakistan.
Wow.
Yeah, and currently at our center, we have over 120 humanoid robots.
Wow.
Our deputy director, Dr. Barry Bentley, just returned from Harvard Medical School through the Fulbright Scholarship Program. So he's doing groundbreaking bioengineering research in cell freezing using AI. Last but not least, like other robotics center, we also have autonomous mobile robotics like arms, navigations. We bring high tech to low tech area, and that's our passion, my passion, to bridge the digital gap. So our center do a lot of STEM workshop, public engagement with children, with underprivileged communities, some girls in Bali, refugees, Indigenous people in Southeast Asia.
Amazing. I mean, that's a very impressive portfolio.
Thank you.
So you mentioned you have over 120 humanoid robots. That's a lot of robots.
Yeah. Some are small, some are big, some are medium size, different sizes. Yeah.
Are they all like commercially available robots, or are you developing your own kind of bespoke humanoids?
Actually, many of them are commercialized available. We purchase it from Canada, Japan, German, China, Korea, and then we customize.
Sure.
We program. We have a few that we developed ourselves.
Cool.
Or we integrate ourselves, OEM. We didn't build robots from scratch. I believe none of the robotics center in the UK built from scratch. It's mainly either OEM or we program, we extend.
What's OEM?
Meaning we purchase robotics parts.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not from scratch because the only, I think, robotic manufacturers country are mainly German, Japan, China a lot, and US.
Sure.
Italy a little bit.
Okay, cool. So the field of humanoid robots seems to be developing really, really fast at the moment. Every time I go onto social media, I feel like I see a new video of a new humanoid that someone's developed.
Oh, yes.
And there's, more and more advanced systems coming onto the market. So what are the biggest outstanding challenges in making humanoid robots that, are either as capable or perhaps even more capable than humans?
This is really good questions. I will break into two parts to respond to this.
Sure.
The first part, I would think that the biggest outstanding challenges in making humanoid robots is how far do we go in ethical and legalize in different countries, different culture, and jurisdiction, especially the real life integration with human, which is my current main focus work now.
Okay.
Technically speaking, is the standing straight humanoid robot. So, Claire, most of the robots that you can see from the market or research labs that you have visited are either wheeled humanoid robots, wheeled like 3 or 4 wheels, humanoid robots, or if they have bipedal legs, most of them are bended. Because of the control and the balancings, it's the engineering problem that yet to be saved. So even the best were humanoid robots like Atlas by Boston Dynamics or Walker by UB Tech China. You can observe their legs are half bent.
Yeah.
These are the technical challenges that yet to be solved. Okay. You can't see a humanoid robot stand straight like you and I.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's such a small thing, I guess, in the grand scheme of like the challenge of making a humanoid, but it is something that definitely makes them not quite look human.
If you stand straight, you can still walk, but easily being pushed down, fell down.
Yeah.
Lots of engineering problems need to be solved at that point. But in terms of the AI part, the brain parts, I would think that really seriously, ethical, legal, and to integrate those real life robots in different countries, different cultural, different legacy systems are the biggest challenge for our field now.
Yeah, that linked quite nicely into a question that we had submitted by an audience member on Patreon. So Marianne says, as humanoid robots become more lifelike, what ethical considerations arise, especially concerning their integration into human society?
Yeah, I think, Claire, this is probably one of the best questions today. But unfortunately, there is no direct or simple answer from me. The quick answer from me for this is something called tokuzuns. Welsh tokuzun is my response now to address the ethical considerations. The term tokuzuns originates from Japan government to draw a zone or many zones across Japan where robots and humans coexist. They can live together happily, And I adapted that idea of Japanese tokuzuns and Malaysia technology called technology park idea, where the high tech can freely being tested and invested and piloted in the zones that government declare to investigate, to evaluate, to improve in order to make ethical social principles, followed by legal terms to suit the geographical area and jurisdictions. So what I mean here is I would encourage, I'm doing it now, all the robot designer, robot engineers, they declare tokuzuns. I declare 7 tokuzuns now across Wales and different countries that I developed. I'll give you an example. A tokuzun that I declare in a hospital, they have, I think, about 10 or 11 floor, but level 8 is all ward. So that level 8 is declared as the first tokuzun in Malaysia, where we integrated 2 healthcare robots there. So the patient, when they want to register or hospitalize in that hospital, they can have a choice to stay in level 6 wards or level 8 wards. If they click, yes, I want to stay in Tokuzun's level 8 wards. So I give my consent to integrate with level 8 robots. I give my consent to interact with robots, and my pictures, my voices, my data can be collected by the robotic nurse. And we have implemented that since 2 years ago. Which have a lot of really positive and constructive feedback. So to answer Marilyn's questions about when a human robots become more lifelike, how do we deal with ethicals? We don't have an explicit law yet. Everyone is making their own law.
Yeah.
Okay. I always respect the robot designer who designed the robot to determine, for example, the ethics legal conduct to be aligned with their jurisdictions. Toku zones are just like smoking or non-smoking zones. So we empower the users, the workers who work with the robots to choose.
Yeah.
You want to smoke or you don't want to smoke. Another example is like, Alan Turing. So in my center, we have a robot named after Alan Turing, which is gender neutral. Everyone knows Alan Turing, and his story. So it is gender neutral robot declared by the designer from my EUREKA Robotics Centre. On the other hand, if I bring this same Alan Turing robot to Malaysia, Indonesia, that part of the world where LGBT remains illegal and will be penalized with cane sentences, etc.
Yeah.
So I have to adapt to the local legal system to declare Alan Turing is a male, is a guy. I can't say it's gender neutral because it's against their law.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't say he's a gay. So all I believe this kind of robots in the real world, they need to be decided by a responsible designer, the creator of the robot, of how far does it goes. And that is a challenge.
Yeah.
Last example, my center, EUREKA Robotics Centre, those robots that we integrated to in the real world have a passport.
Okay.
Issued by us. It's one of my PhD students' work. Currently, recently published by the UK Parliament, their work. So we issue passport together with the Toku zones. So in the passport, detailing down who is the person in charge of the robot, who is the person in consult, which is us, who is the person who is responsible for the robot if the robot goes wrong. So we give shared responsibility to people who interact with the AI.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like this is a huge topic of so many different facets of what is ethical, and yeah, I think you've highlighted some really interesting points there. I was pleased to hear that the Tokusons have there's consent. You have to choose to go into that. I guess there's kind of an issue of how informed that consent is. If like, do you provide information to the patients about the kind of advantages and disadvantages of the robots so that they can really consider their decision before they make it?
They are posted everywhere.
Okay.
And when they register, it's one of the consent forms, just like they want to sign a consent before they do the operation. So it's already integrated with the hospital systems.
Yeah, fantastic.
In our center, then we put posters outside. So when they pass through, they will see the poster. This is a Toku zone. This is a technology park. If you don't want to see robot, if you feel being threatened or mentally being disrupted, then please go.
Okay.
So we give that authority, the power back to the user.
Yeah, that's really important.
And people can freely test the robots there, and we can enhance. People who would like to be pilot together, then we can get a lot of data, feedback, assessment, evaluation from them.
So we have an audience question submitted by Synthetic Savvy on Twitter, who says, I'd love to know more about the potential of humanoid robots in agriculture. Can they increase crop yields and reduce waste?
Yes, I can answer a little bit. It's not my main area, but my colleague's area. I got 2 colleagues working on agriculture robots.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. The efficiency, effectiveness of agriculture robots, either it's a vertical robot or it's an agri-aquaculture robots, like the robots on the sea. We have colleagues from Indonesia. They use AI to detect where the fisheries can be optimum.
Right.
Then they inform the government, they inform the fishermen, go there, when. So this kind of AI technology definitely can help in agriculture.
Are they generally humanoid, or do they have different kind of forms based on what the environment needs? Yeah.
Yes. Humanoid, just in the terms of the sensitivity of human characteristics. They may not have face, but they have emotion.
Yeah.
They may not have hands, but they have legs. It depends on the...
Yeah, I guess, yeah. This is what is a humanoid robot, because to me, it should be exactly the human form. But as you mentioned earlier, quite often they have wheels. At what point does it become a humanoid as opposed to something else?
I published a written evidence by the UK Parliament in 2018 to define what do we mean by humanoid, which is have humans characteristics. Either is the five senses or the body parts.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a hand, half body, even a head. So there must be certain numbers of humans' body or human characteristics in order to be called a humanoid robots.
Okay.
But not necessarily is those full humans. That's on Android, we call Android.
Yes. So to me, usually the main benefit of mimicking the human form in a robot is I guess one of two things. Either because it's going to interact with humans, and so we feel, more comfortable speaking to and interacting with a robot that kind of looks like us, or also that it's adapted to, if it's going to live in our homes are designed for, people that are about 6 foot tall and have 2 arms and 2 legs, and like it can get around, it can reach everything. But if neither of those two things are met, like in agriculture, you don't really need 2 arms and 2 legs and a face to be a good agricultural robot.
Yes, indeed, Claire. Give you another example. At Cardiff Met, the university I'm working now, have installed a farm board, a working farm board, which looks like a farm, small little farm.
Okay.
And with different equipment, engineering equipment, that can help us to plant different seeds, can help watering, can detect the weather, can detect the dryness of the seed, the soil.
Amazing.
And it can manually control, and you can see there are eyes in a camera that you can even water the farm board when you're on holiday in Spain.
Nice, I like that.
Yes. And you can record down the growth, the development of the plants, like those quick videos, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And I believe, to go back to that question from the Twitter, it's really helped that kind of humans elements of farming, of planting. People who like planting always know that holiday is a nightmare. No one help me to water. No one help me to take care of my animals or my plants. So robots can help.
Yeah. I guess a lot of people, when they go on holiday or they go out for the day, they have like a camera in their house so they can see their pet. I like the idea that you can do the same for your plants.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And you can interact with your plants.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. I need one of those. So as you mentioned earlier, a major theme in your work is working with underprivileged communities. So can you tell me a bit about some of the projects you've worked on that you feel have been particularly impactful?
Maybe can I draw back a little bit that I want to share with you that I am the fruit of this kind of impact. When I was a teenager, Neil Armstrong, Neil Armstrong, the first man who go onto the moon, he came to the little town in Malaysia.
Oh, wow.
And met a group of us and inspired us and told us about the moon, told us about the science, the star. And that planted a huge seed in my heart. Wanted to go into STEM subjects. I wanted to go into UK to study. So I'm the fruit of this kind of impact.
And that's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know that I can go to UK to study as a girl.
Yeah.
So I would like to do the same thing to others. So in 2017, I was invited by a colleague from the School of Education to deliver robotics workshop for teachers and girls in the Valley. So we invited them to Cardiff museums and provided whole day sessions of robotics workshops and Python programming, coding. And at that day was very striking because I just realized in the UK in 2017, there were students, kids, live in a valley, less than an hour or 2 hours drive from Cardiff capital, never been to Cardiff.
Wow.
Never been to a museum.
Yeah.
I thought those things only happen in Africa or Malaysia, but that happened in valleys, in Wales. So I was really struck and inspired by my colleagues. And since then, we do many, many public engagement to invite them to the university in Cardiff, or we go there, or we bring robots to the valley. So I think that's how we began. And when we grow, so we also invited, we got some grants from British Council, from different people, well government, to run more workshops for refugees and for Orang Asli. Orang Asli means indigenous people, the native in Southeast Asia. So we brought robots to them. We flew there. I actually bring 10 students every year to Malaysia to talk to their girls schools. I think we have impacted over 25 or 30,000 already.
Wow.
We keep the records on a spreadsheet.
That's amazing.
We're not just telling them how to code programming with robots, but our students, first year up to master students, PhD students, they share their life, their study life in the UK, and how fun to study robotics, how fun to study engineering. Mathematics is not that tough as you think. You can do it. And robot can even make tough life fun. I remember one high school girl. She is a Muslim girl studying in a very rural area in Malaysia. At that time, we had about like 300 girls in the workshop. So my student was I forgot it's Iran or some student from Middle East in a country who had war. So that student came to UK, came to Cardiff Metropolitan to study robotic engineering, second year student. So I brought her to Malaysia for the short-term mobility using TAIF grant. It's a Welsh government grant. And she delivered the robotic session for the first time, flying to Malaysia, etc. At the end of the workshop, a girl came up to speak to her, saying that I would like to be like you. Can I?
Yeah, that's so nice.
That's an immediate rewarding for that student.
Absolutely,
She was almost in tears, and she came back and tell me that she loves this course, she wants to study, and she wants to impact more people.
Yeah, that's incredible. It sounds like a really, really valuable experience just for everybody who's involved in that.
Yes. I heard a story before where a STEM ambassador shared with me. She said she brought another professor into a school, talk about the professor research. But none of the students understood what the professor was talking about. Then the professor was fed up too and showed very impatient and then left. It wasn't a pleasant session. So I told myself, and I would like to share with other people who hear this, if you were an academic, a researcher, regardless of what discipline, robotics, engineering, social science, computer science, if we cannot make our work simple enough for the public to understand, to learn, to be inspired, I think our work is in vain.
Yeah, absolutely.
No point doing. How many papers you publish doesn't matter. It is important for your promotion.
Sure.
But it is not the real impact, the real impact of our life, our work that can give us the immediate return.
Yeah. And I think that, there's often a lot of fear around robotics. And I think that often comes from just not knowing much about them. And the only thing that you've seen about robots is some sci-fi film where, it's a killer robot.
Killer robots.
Yeah. So like what you're saying is so true that it's really important that everybody can understand.
I brought one robot, the first robotic waitress in Wales, 2019. We piloted it. It's a grant, a project. The waiter, the boss of the restaurant, brilliant. They love it. Customers, mixed feeling. I remember one case, one elderly woman. She said she was the customer there. She sat quite behind. She saw us what we were doing, testing the robots, receiving the customers, but her face was very red and angry. So I was a bit puzzled. Then I walked through her. I said, "Hello, hi, I'm so and so. I came from Cardiff Met. We are doing some pilot project with the robots. What do you think about this robot?" It's a robot EUREKA, and cute robots. It can sing, can dance, can project the food menu out on the wall. So it's quite good.
Oh, that's cool.
To me, it's quite good.
Yeah.
And we attracted many reporters at times, so we got some news. But that lady told me one sentence, only one sentence. She said, "I hate robots."
Wow. That's it.
I don't like robots. That's it. I asked her, why? Would you mind to elaborate why? She said, that robot would take away my job. I'm a waitress. That struck me also.
Yeah.
So I tried to explain to her, I said, yes, maybe this robot in the long run may replace some of our work. But my attitude is that we can give upskilling to those jobs that being replaced. Just like during the industrialization 1, 2, 3, 4, when the steam engine being invented, people who ride the horses lost their job, but people being trained to become a train driver instead of horse rider. So I think this is repeating now for AI world. People fear of the robot because they think robots will replace them. For example, I told the cleaners also in our university, because we got a cleaning robot, disinfection robot. They're so afraid, this robot will replace my. I said, no. We will train you become a manager, a robot manager to manage the robots so that your job will never be replaced by the robot.
Yeah, I think that's job losses is often one of the big concerns I hear about robotics. And I guess there's that issue of, robots may replace some jobs, they may create some others, but are the people who have lost their jobs going to have the opportunity to reskill and retrain to do the new jobs that are perhaps more intellectually stimulating?
And to come back to your question, why I'm doing public impact, the things that interest me is because of this. So that I can possibly encourage, inspire more future generations to study STEM-related subjects so that they can develop good robots, ethical robots, safe integrations, and their jobs will never be replaced by this kind of technology.
Do you offer any like adult learning courses or opportunities for people to reskill?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yes. Widening access. College students or mature students. Yes.
Brilliant. Esyin, it's been so wonderful chatting to you today. I've been speaking to Esyin Chew from Cardiff Metropolitan University. Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoy Robot Talk, I'd really appreciate it if you could share the podcast, subscribe, and leave a review. It really helps boost the podcast, so thanks in advance. And if you've got a question you'd like me to ask one of my future guests, you can contact me on social media at Robot Talk Pod, on Patreon at patreon.com/Claire Asher, or at robottalk.org. I regularly announce upcoming guests on all those platforms, and I'd love to include your questions in my next interview. I thought you might like to hear a sneak peek of this month's bonus episode. What do you think is the most accurate representation of AI and robotics in sci-fi?
Well, okay, it's a very difficult question, but I have an answer to this. And to me is the one in the Ex Machina movie, which is a 2014 science fiction film written and directed by Alex Garland. The story follows a programmer who is invited by his CEO to administer the Turing test to an intelligent humanoid robot.
Yeah.
That's my best example.
I've seen that film. I really like that. It's very, very clever.
The end might be a bit sad, but I don't want to anticipate for our listener this movie.
They'll have to go away and watch it.
Yes.
I think most depictions are quite awful, I would say, unfortunately, working in this area. I have to say that I've seen one that was really interesting. It was this TV show called Humans.
If you'd like to hear more from this bonus episode, sign up as a supporter on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Claire Asher, and you'll get access to the full catalogue of bonus content. Next week, I'm chatting to Jonathan Walker from Innovate UK about commercialising robotics innovations. Until then, I've been Claire Asher, and this has been Robot Talk. Robot Talk is brought to you by the Hamlin Centre, Imperial College London.